You know who you are? You're the one who stays late, the one who does the work no one else wants to do, and does it well. You don't complain. You don't make excuses. You just put your head down and deliver. And yet, somehow, the credit ends up somewhere else. Someone louder gets the praise. Someone with less skin in the game gets the promotion. And you sit there wondering, does anyone actually see what I do here? This video is for you. And by the end of it, you'll understand exactly why this keeps happening and what the psychology says you can do about it. Psychologists have a term for what these people experience: invisible labor. It describes work that is essential to a group's success but goes unrecognized, untracked, uncredited, and unseen. The meeting that ran smoothly because someone prepared for 3 hours. The crisis that never happened because someone caught it early. The team that stayed functional because one person quietly held it together. According to a 2019 study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology, employees who consistently perform invisible labor report significantly lower job satisfaction and higher burnout rates than their recognized peers, regardless of actual workload. It's not the volume of work that breaks people. It's the invisibility of it. What makes invisible labor so dangerous is that it's self-reinforcing. The better you are at it, the more invisible you become. Because when things go right, no one asks why. They only notice the work when it stops happening. By then, the person doing it is already gone. The first thing that defines people who do all the work and get no credit is something researchers call the competence trap. Harvard psychologist Teresa Amabile found that when someone consistently performs at a high level, organizations unconsciously stop rewarding them and start expecting it. The bar quietly moves. What was once impressive becomes the new baseline, and the person who set that standard receives nothing for setting it, only pressure to maintain it. Here's what makes this trap so difficult to escape. The more competent you are, the more work gets routed to you. Not as a reward, as a default. You become the person problems get sent to because everyone knows you'll solve them. Your reliability becomes the system's safety net. And safety nets don't get applauded, they just get used. Research from Stanford's Graduate School of Business confirms this. High performers in organizations are 48% more likely to take on unrecognized work than their average performing peers. Not because they're asked, because they can't watch something fail when they know they could fix it. People who quietly do all the work share a specific neurological profile. Research using the Big Five personality model consistently shows they score high in agreeableness and conscientiousness, and low in self-promotion. Their brain is wired to find meaning in contribution, not applause. The megaphone is always within reach. They simply don't pick it up. This isn't modesty, it's neurology. Studies in social cognitive psychology show that people high in agreeableness experience self-promotion as a threat to relationships, not an opportunity. Saying, "I did this," feels to them like saying, "You didn't." So they stay silent. And silence in a workplace is always interpreted as absence. The uncomfortable truth is this. In most organizations, the person who talks about their work most confidently is perceived as the person doing the most work, regardless of reality. Perception isn't fair, but it is the game. Let's talk about what being chronically overlooked actually does to a person. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA demonstrated that social exclusion and physical pain activate the same neural pathways. When you are left out of recognition that should be yours, your brain does not file it under minor workplace frustration. It files it under pain. Every time your contribution goes unacknowledged, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. One instance is manageable. But when it becomes a pattern, chronic cortisol elevation begins to impair memory, decision-making, and emotional regulation. The person who was once sharp and reliable starts making small errors, starts second-guessing, starts withdrawing. And here's the cruel irony. The withdrawal is then misread by management as disengagement. The person gets passed over again, the cortisol spikes again. the cycle deepens. What began as a recognition problem becomes a performance problem, not because the person changed, but because the environment broke them. So, why do the wrong people keep getting ahead? Psychologist Robert Cialdini's research on impression management explains it clearly. Visibility is a skill. People who perform confidence and ownership loudly, even when the underlying work is not theirs, trigger the familiarity heuristic. We credit what we remember. We remember what we see. The quiet worker who never claimed the work was never registered as its owner. Credit theft doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't require a villain. Sometimes it's as simple as someone else walking into a meeting and presenting your work, because you handed it over without attaching your name to it. Sometimes it's a manager who genuinely doesn't know who did what, and gives the credit to the person who spoke up. Visibility without substance is hollow, but substance without visibility is invisible. Both are incomplete. The goal is not to become loud, it's to become legible. So, what does the psychology tell us to do? 4 strategies that actually work. 1. Strategic visibility. This is not bragging, it is documentation. Send a brief update email after completing something significant. Copy the right people, not to seek praise, to create a paper trail of contribution. Research shows this single habit increases recognition by over 30% without changing a person's core work style. 2. Contribution framing. Before handing work off, attach your name and context to it. Here's the analysis I built. The key finding is on page 3. 1 sentence. That's all it takes to convert invisible output into attributed output. 3. Peer visibility. Credit others specifically and publicly. That solution came from a framework she built last quarter. When you make others visible, you signal that you track contribution closely, and people start tracking yours. 4. Strategic withdrawal. Identify the work that is draining you without building you. Stop doing it. Not dramatically. Gradually redirect that energy toward high visibility, high value work. Let the gap speak. Here's the deeper truth that most psychology of work videos won't tell you. Adam Grant's research identified a critical inflection point for givers, the moment they stop giving indiscriminately and start directing their energy with intention. That shift, from reflexive generosity to strategic contribution, is what separates givers who burn out from givers who rise. The people at the top of Grant's performance rankings weren't the ones who gave the most. They were the ones who gave the most wisely. They chose where to invest. They protected their energy, and they made their contributions legible, not for ego, but for sustainability. You are allowed to want recognition for your work. That's not vanity. That's a basic human need for fairness, one that the science of motivation has confirmed across decades of research. Ignoring that need doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible. If you are the person who quietly holds everything together, hear this. The most reliable people are often the most invisible ones. Not because their work doesn't matter, because the systems they hold up only become visible when they break. Think about the last time the internet went down. Suddenly, everyone knew what the network team did. Think about the last time payroll was delayed. Suddenly, finance was the most important department in the building. Invisible workers are infrastructure, and infrastructure doesn't get celebrated until the moment it fails. Your work matters, deeply. The question is whether you're willing to make that matter known before the system has to break to prove it. What I just described has a name in organizational psychology: the quiet worker cycle. Stage 1, they work harder than anyone. Stage 2, they are overlooked and their contributions absorbed without credit. Stage 3, they work even harder, believing effort alone will eventually be seen. Stage 4, exhaustion. The cycle continues unless something breaks it. The diagram on screen right now is yours to share. Send it to someone who needs to see it, because the most dangerous part of this cycle is that the person inside it rarely recognizes it from the inside. They just feel tired. They just feel stuck. They just wonder why trying harder never seems to be enough. The answer was never effort. It was visibility. People who quietly do all the work are not weak. They are not naive. They are running a different operating system, one built on intrinsic motivation, integrity, and the belief that quality speaks for itself. That operating system is valuable. Don't delete it. Upgrade it. Learn to document. Learn to attach your name to what you build. Learn to speak about your work with the same confidence you bring to doing it. Not because the world deserves an explanation, but because you deserve to be seen. If this video describes someone you know, share it with them. If it described you, the comment section is waiting. Tell me, are you the person who does the work? And has anyone ever actually noticed?